Рис, Мистер Бист, ест рис. Посмотри вниз, там Мистер Бист, каратист.
Let me paint you a picture. You wake up in the morning, and before your feet even touch the floor, before you've said a single word, you've had a single thought that belongs entirely to you. Your hand is already reaching for your phone, and then you open the app, and the scroll starts. And somewhere between the 3rd and the 47th video, you lose track of time completely. And when you finally put the phone down, 20 minutes have passed, or 40, or an hour, and you couldn't tell me a single thing you watched, just a vague blur of sounds and faces and text on screen that your brain processed and immediately discarded because none of it was ever designed to be remembered. It was designed to keep you watching the next one. That's brain rot, and you're living in it right now. And I'm done watching you pretend it's fine. Let me tell you what brain rot actually is, because I think the word gets thrown around so much that people have stopped taking it seriously. Brain rot is not just watching dumb videos. It's not just wasting time. It's something more specific and more damaging than that. It's what happens to your brain when you expose it to an endless stream of ultra-short, ultra-stimulating content for long enough that normal life starts to feel unbearably slow by comparison. When was the last time you read something longer than a few paragraphs without your mind wandering or your hand reaching for your phone? When was the last time you watched a movie, a full movie, without checking your phone at least once? When was the last time you sat with a genuinely difficult problem and stayed with it long enough to actually think it through instead of getting frustrated and switching to something easier within 2 minutes? When was the last time you were bored? Because boredom is not a problem. Boredom is actually one of the most important mental states a human brain can be in. Boredom is when your brain shifts into a mode called the default mode network, where it starts making unexpected connections between ideas, processing unresolved experiences, generating creative solutions to problems you didn't even know you were thinking about. Some of the best thinking any human being ever does happens in boredom, and you have eliminated boredom from your life completely. Every cue, every commute, every moment of waiting, every 30 seconds between one thing and the next, your phone fills all of it. Every gap, every potentially boring moment that your brain desperately needs in order to process and create and rest. You've been so afraid of being unstimulated that you've accidentally prevented yourself from ever thinking deeply about anything. Think about the most interesting people you know, the ones whose conversations actually go somewhere, the ones who have opinions that are genuinely theirs, not just recycled takes from whatever went viral this week, the ones who can hold your attention in a room without a phone in their hand, the ones who seem to have an interior life that doesn't depend on external stimulation to exist. Those people are not on their phones all the time, and that's not a coincidence, because interesting people have interesting thoughts, and interesting thoughts require uninterrupted time in your own head. They require reading. They require sitting with ideas long enough for them to connect with other ideas in unexpected ways. They require the kind of slow, deep engagement with the world that is completely incompatible with spending 4 hours a day watching 15-second videos about nothing. You are what you consume, and right now you are consuming content that was specifically designed to be forgotten the moment it ends. Let me talk about what this is actually doing to your relationships, because I don't think people connect these two things enough. The inability to be fully present with another human being, to actually sit across from someone and listen without your mind drifting, without reaching for your phone, without the low-level anxiety of not knowing what's happening on your timeline. That inability is one of the most direct consequences of brain rot, because presence requires the same skill as attention, and you've been training your attention to work in 3-second intervals for years, and now you're sitting across from someone who matters to you and your brain, which has been conditioned to expect a new stimulus every few seconds, cannot stay engaged with one face, one voice, one conversation for longer than a few minutes before it starts looking for the next thing. And the people in your life feel that. They might not be able to name it, but they feel the half presence, the eyes that drift, the phone that appears on the table faces up just in case, the responses that arrive a beat too late because you were somewhere else while they were talking. Brain rot is not just a personal problem, it's affecting every relationship you have. So what do you actually do about it? Because I'm not going to just call you out and leave you there. That's not useful. The first thing is the hardest thing, and it's this. Put your phone in another room for the first hour of every morning. Not silent, not face down, another room. Because the temptation of proximity is stronger than your willpower at 7 a.m., and you already know that. 1 hour every morning where your brain belongs entirely to you before it gets handed to an algorithm. Use that hour for anything that requires sustained attention. Reading, writing, thinking, walking without headphones, sitting with your own thoughts without immediately trying to escape them. Anything that requires your brain to stay with one thing for longer than 30 seconds. The second thing is to reintroduce boredom deliberately. When you're waiting for something, a coffee, a train, a friend, friend who's running late, don't reach for your phone, just wait, just be there. Let your brain be bored for 5 minutes and see what happens. Most people haven't done this in years, and the first few times feel genuinely uncomfortable. That discomfort is withdrawal, and the fact that not having your phone for 5 minutes feels uncomfortable should tell you everything you need to know about how dependent you've become. And the third thing is to replace some of your consumption with creation. Not content creation necessarily, just making something, writing something down, drawing something, building something, cooking something from scratch. Any activity where you are the one producing rather than consuming, because the brain that creates is working in a completely different and significantly healthier mode than the brain that passively scrolls. Here's what I want you to understand about the version of you that exists on the other side of Brainrot. He reads, he thinks in full sentences, he can sit in a room with someone he cares about and actually be there. He can watch a 2-hour film and not check his phone once. He can sit with a hard problem long enough to actually solve it. He gets bored sometimes, and instead of immediately escaping the boredom, he lets it exist long enough to produce something interesting on the other side of it. He is more present, more interesting, more capable of the kind of deep, sustained thinking that actually changes your life. And he is not some distant, upgraded version of you that requires years of work to become. He is just you, with your phone in another room. Start there, tomorrow morning, first hour, phone in another room. Just see what your brain does when you finally give it some space.